I call it the stupid phase.
Yep.
Right? Like, are we live? Are we not? We're not really sure. And then everybody.
Because you never know.
Yeah. I see it says live. But I don't believe that to be true at all whatsoever.
Zoom does the same thing.
Yeah. This is going to be interesting. But like I was mentioning before, I really like your story and your journey because it's not this like fly by night overnight. You're not like some like 18-year-old that accidentally nothing. You have kids, you have a mortgage, you have wife, you've got like real life stuff going on. So I really put your journey in the same life as like Chris Levitt or Leave It. I'm never gonna get his name right. Like the two of you is like, look, dude, I am not like like I mentioned before, like an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 21. I was like, no, I got like life stuff, right? And I remember when you were coming on board and you got super active and we had conversations about which niche do I choose? I don't know, margins, like that standard I don't know phase. Now you're coming on the same show that you started off with like a year and a half ago, right? And now you sold 80 clients and 60 of them have been sticking around. Is that right?
Yep.
Or like
I don't have 80 right now. Right now I have 67. That's why I have the retention rate that I gave you. But like I said, but all the losses, when I look back at them, there is only maybe 1 or 2 or 3, maybe I'll say 3 to be fair, that we couldn't perform for. It just wouldn't work in the area. We just couldn't. Other people were reasons of their own, not to our doing, but we do really well for the clients. I have a team here which helps out a lot too, which that helps a lot our model. And and you even see in our groups, people are always like, how do you do it? How do you do it, man? And the only thing I'm going to say here is your commercial is I verbatim did what you said, like verbatim. I didn't deviate.
Yeah. I appreciate that very much. So now that we know like where you are, which is you now have 67 clients. Last month, I remember you posted you had 40, right?
Yep.
So you increased to 67 since.
Yep.
That's a whole other conversation, right?
Yeah. Last month we signed 28. This month we're at like 15 so far. I don't know if we're going to beat last month. There's only 7 days left, but we're getting there.
Dude, what world is it where you're disappointed you only signed a client every other day for May?
I know. I was talking to my wife about that actually, and I was like, "Man, we're down." And she's like, "Well, you only signed one like every day last month." It's like it doesn't feel real yet. It's kicking in now, but it's like I
remember like you were coming on a coaching call, and at no point have I ever felt like all of this is real. It always feels fake and weird because you're plugging along on the internet. You type some things, then somebody puts money in your bank account, and there's not this like weird connection where like you go hunting and you find food. It's like it's all invisible, and somehow people pay you money and you get to buy fruit, right? Yep. It's weird, right?
Yep. I mean, we've done a lot. Like this year, I paid off my car. We're paying off my wife's car. I'm probably going to pay off my mortgage and be debt free 2 months from now. Like, because of what's going on here. It's like crazy. Like I've not been debt free since I was allowed to make debt before college,
You haven't been debt free since college.
Nope.
Wow.
So we've been something. Yep.
Well, let's flash back because you officially started like 6 months ago or so or something like that?
Well, agency wise, 15 years, but with you, probably right around end of October, somewhere there. Yeah.
When everything was going wrong and nothing was going right, that's every excuse, right?
That's what got me into it. Because, like, if you remember, I was trying to do this at restaurants and it just wasn't working for me. Because COVID. That's when COVID hit, and we were set right there. Like we finally hit the pinnacle where we had a pile of clients. I had like 5 meetings that week. I had 6 clients that were starting that week, and one at a time, as the capacities got booted, they started canceling, started pausing. Hey, we're only pausing for 2 weeks. We'll be back, and here we are. Some of them still aren't 100% open, but I had to find something else. And I did some spooking around. I was talking to people, and literally, I was looking out my window at the back of my house while I was thinking about this. And it was still it was like right at the end of the season, but I seen a truck going down the street. He was watching
consumable home services, something like that, right?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what he was doing. He was going by with a bucket truck washing people's awnings. I was like, huh. And then I looked it up. Those guys worked through COVID, so I started joining Facebook groups and then started following your program. Because I remember my first meeting with you, you were like, "Did you post your call for clients yet?" Like, no, and you like made me do it. Kind of like,
yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Not a lot came out of it, but it got the ball rolling, you know?
Was that like this like dawning moment of like, now I'm in, now I'm committed, I can't like half step this? Is that what that was for you?
It was crazy just because like, I was like, he's going to make me do this. And he's, you know, you weren't going to go on the meeting. I did, but that's all it really was. Looking back, I mean, it was the same as making video. Like I have no problem making video, but asked me to make a video on a camera 3 years ago, I couldn't do it. Like I just couldn't do it. Like I could record them, I could stream them live, and I'd still even cringe when I push the stream button. But, you know, that's kind of what got me over the hump. But yeah, it's just a matter of doing it. And, you know, probably my other biggest challenge that I overcame through this is understanding that churn is part of agency life.
Yep.
You know, I used to get stuck when I couldn't make it work for somebody, or somebody was complaining, or I couldn't keep them happy, or, and, you know, you come to the realization you just gotta go through the numbers. The people you can't help will fall off, and as that process keeps happening, you're gonna have this big group of people that you do good for, that love you, and those are the ones that are gonna be left. And then you keep building on them.
So I find that really interesting because I remember one of the coaching calls you came on board and you're like, I got my first trial 5.
Yep.
Right.
And
I got 5. You got 5, right?
5.
And we'll talk about like how that happens, but you got your 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of the 5, how many would you say like, wow, this worked?
One bombed, totally bombed. I just couldn't figure it out. I don't know to this day what it was. If it was the area, if it was whatever. 3 were okay.
Right.
1 absolutely killed it. And he sent me a video testimonial, which I made into an ad, and that ad drives my business today. Like, because it's just that convincing.
So when you first started, now is like you're some are gonna like drop off, some be horrible, get used to failure, and like, oh, like I hate that idea. Like in college or an undergrad, like, do you remember like if you got 1 out of 5, you were a failure, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And now it's like 1 out of 5 is like this is a rocket ship, right? But like you just need 1 win. That's it. Nothing else. You don't need
and you learn so much on the way through, because then we start going through clients. We're churning. We were losing clients in the beginning. We were losing them faster, but you know, you get all those wins on the way through, and you figure out what's working, what's not, and you know, like we have a new client that comes on now. It's scripted, you know, not verbatim, but we kind of know based on where they're at, you know, who to target, how to target them, what kind of offers will work, will not work. It's just so much easier now, but you have to get the at-bats is what the difference is, you know? I don't know. I'm going to say I close probably better than 1 and 2 now. If I'm talking to somebody, better than 1 and 2. So I'll say like every call and a half, I probably close. Before it was like 1 out of 5, 1 out of 6. I had to beg people to do trials, but now that I've been in the industry and I know the lingo, just because I was creeping around the groups for so long, you know, that's what makes the difference now. Is just the education and knowing how to talk to the clients and, you know, their hot buttons and what works for their companies. You know, like I can talk sense to them now.
So is that where we talk about like tribal language and how people talk about their problems and all that stuff? Like if I'm talking to a doctor, I can't say customer, right? If I'm talking to a roofer, I need to say job, right? And every type of industry has its own lingo. And I'll tell you what, I got cursed out in my target client Facebook groups because I use the word customer. I'm like, really, guys? Like, is that your trigger today? It's like, yeah, you said customer. That means you're not one of us. Like, oh my God, right? And you discover your client's tribal language simply by getting at-bats, at-reps, and going to the gym and doing the doing part. Is that right?
That's it. I mean, that's all it comes down to. I mean, honestly, and now that I'm good at it, like, you know, the slow season for me is going to come. It's probably going to come, you know, October, November, when, you know, most of the country freezes over and those kind of people put the snow plows on, or they start hanging Christmas lights, you know, one or the other. So we're planning on doing a winter niche that we're going to start probably priming in September. So when that churn comes, that, you know, we don't see it financially here. And, you know, I'm trying to keep my team lean now because I don't know what that churn is going to look like, you know, coming the end of the season, you know?
So you actually are actively saying, I know my clients have different offers for different seasons, and I'm going to know that and then change their offers when it comes wintertime. Is that right?
Well, partly, because what happens is some of them start plowing snow. Some of them start doing gutter cleanings in the fall. Some of them start hanging Christmas lights. Other ones, they do painting. They do indoor warm stuff. So I don't know. And again, I'll just say it on here. We're probably going to pursue painting, come September, just because, it's a niche that it's not just winter, but if we figure it out at that point, then we'll be cruising with 2 come next season.
I just came from a mastermind event where a guy spends $100,000 a day on Facebook ads. Huge numbers, right? He will have a best performing offer, and he's always trying to introduce new offers that beat it. Not because it will be beaten, but because by the time it starts to dropping, you have 2 weeks, right? So what I'm hearing from you is like, that you've got offers and you're trying to introduce new ones because it's going to drop. You might just have one ready to go, right?
Yeah. So it depends on the client. Now, what I found, there's 4 different levels. All right. So number 1, the bottom level is like the sub $100 offer. So that could be anything, do this for $100, do that for $100, do this for $100. And what'll happen is they can upsell other stuff. And I always explain it on the bottom level. You're going to get the most action and most at bats. And if you're new in this, if you're less than 6 months old, this is where I want you to start, because you're going to get more practice talking to people with their own stuff. Next level up from there is going to be the discount. So like $50 off this or 25 off of that. There'll be less volume than a sub 100, but the quality is going to get a little better. Next one up from there, we're going to do the standard request for quote. And again, there's going to be less volume than a sub 100 and the offer, but the quality is going to get even better. And, and that's the one where we kind of use your process, where we just describe the service with 10 sentences of all the stuff that and blow up the value. And even if we're not getting good quality or, what they want off of that one, they're still having to sell too much. We have one more level above that where we'll actually put a price on the actual service. So even if it's a $600 service, we're going to say, hey, starting at $600. If it's $200, we're starting at $200. And, and again, you're going to get much less volume than those bottom 3 levels. But on that 4th level, the quality's there. People already saw the pricing. We might even put tiers of the pricing. And so, hey, if you're going to do this, it'll be this would be the ad. Or if your house is this big, or 2,500 square feet or 3,000 square feet, this is what it costs. So when those leads come through, it's not like the typical Facebook, I don't know you type stuff. Like, they've seen the pricing. It's almost like a Google ad. You get a lot less of them, but they're interested because they saw the pricing. Otherwise, they would not be reaching out to you, So, but those are the 4 levels. And those are even our progressions. When something's not working for somebody, they say it's quality, we go up. They say we need more volume, we go down. That's just how we run our ads.
So are you communicating this to a future client to get them coming on board, or is that just an internal conversation?
No, this is how we actually have, like I said, I had myself, and I had 3 people here working with me, my team. If you go out this door, you can see it here. I had 3 people next door. But we've built the systems, and when we do the onboarding, this is where we go through. We actually show them, these are the levels. This is what happens. More volume down here, better quality up here. Do you have time to be selling yourself, or do you want to be closer to an order taker? And then we kind of talk them through deciding, what offer makes the most sense for them. So like I said, if they're really busy and they're the guy on the truck with their crew, they're going to need to be at level 3 or 4. But if they're the guy in the office and they have a quote guy and and he's good, and they have crews running and they're doing more managing the business and running and doing the sales, they're going to be lower. While the quality is lower, if they're a good salesman, they're going to have no problem using that foot in the door to sell more stuff.
So that means that you can have a marketing program that somebody picks, and if they pick wrong, they feel like it's on them a little bit, not just entirely blaming you. Is that correct?
Yeah, it does. And I mean, and I'm not above, like when we do onboarding or I do a sales call, I don't even use a pitch deck anymore. I talk to people like they're humans. Yeah. Talk about like, hey, tell me about your business, where you're at, what have you done, where I explore where their tolerance is. I just say, hey, have you ever talked to somebody like me before? Have you ever talked to an agency about advertising? Because if I'm the first one, I got to be gentle. If they've talked to other people, I know they know the pricing, should be, or in the neighborhood of. So, I know what to present them, as far as, package levels.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Did you know this when you were starting out? Like, did you have a vision of all that, or was it like
none of it?
Figure it out as you're doing it?
every time somebody made my life difficult, we just added to the process. Like, this can't happen. How do we fix it? You know, that comes with qualification, or like, you know, like, I mean, I've told you, like, we have a starter program, and we didn't have that in the beginning. We didn't have that until 3 months ago. And the reason we didn't have it was because I just believed that we couldn't make money on it, and it was going to be a lot of work there wasn't going to be enough budget to get results for the clients. That was my biggest reason why I didn't want to go down there. But what I have found is that it does work. You know, a lot of people are just looking for somewhere to start, and I explain it as that. So I put limitations even on, like, with our starter package, we will only spend $10 a day maximum. If you want to spend more than $10 a day, you got to move up to the core program, and that's all there is to it.
So that was a function of you getting on the phone with people who were like, I don't want to spend a lot of money, I'm not really sure. And then you built a program to match the market. Is that right? Yeah,
because the people kept saying, well, where do we start? We don't know. We still need help, but we can't afford that price plus $25 a day on ads. We just can't.
Right.
So, you know, I did it again. I did it as a trial. I took three people on and said, hey, I have this. This is what I want to do. I want to spend this, and I want to see if it works. And I got 3 people to do it with me. You know, I didn't charge them for it. And, you know, like, same thing. 2 of them worked really well. 1 was so-so, but the so-so guy was close to a bigger city. So I know his problem is budget. Yeah. You know, that's just what it is. But if you give me somebody in the suburbs with a starter program, we can do decent. Now, the other part to that is too, like, and I know you know this, it does come down to budget. You know, if we have somebody that we're spending $10 a day or $20 a day with, and they're getting, you know, say leads somewhere between 20 and 30 bucks. You know, that's usually where we shoot for these kind of services in ad spend. What happens sometimes when we take them to, say, $40 or $50, they don't just get double the results. So a lot of times it's quadruple. Because what happens is now that they're, you know, because Facebook is really good at figuring out who is interested in what service by targeting, you know, what they type on their phone, and all that stuff they say is going away. So we'll see what happens yet. But what happens is when you have the higher budget, you have more juice left at certain times of day, you get in front of more of what I feel the higher quality people, which is why the results quadruple instead of double. Because now you're in those better auctions, you know, and that's the other part people miss. That when I explain, hey, this is not guaranteed spots. It's an auction to get these spots. And, you know, if you don't have enough money or you're not willing to spend, you know, the only reason this might fail is because you're not putting the budget behind it. Like, literally, that's how I explain it.
I see that with some of my clients now that are like super dollar afraid or dollar unconscious. And it's not like a volume of money thing. It's they don't want to pull the money out thing. Right? Like they hate this feeling, and which I get. I'm the same way, and so are you. You're like, I don't want to do that, right? And we'll have some clients that are like struggle busting their way $30, $40 a day, and we have another client that's spending $300 to $400 a day. He's not getting 10 times the results. He's getting 40 times the results.
Yeah, and like, it's so weird how it happens, man. Like I had this one guy. He's like 2 hours south of Orlando. He was getting leads for about $35 a piece. He was closing every third one, and the service he was closing it for was, you know, usually a minimum $800, and it goes into the thousands. And he's like, I need more. And he's like, well, what do we do? I said, let's double your budget. So we doubled his budget, and within 2 days, he went from getting, you know, the $35 leads at 20 a day, so every other day, you know, maybe 4 to 6 a week. He started getting anywhere from 3 to 6 a day at about $14 when we went from 20 to 40, and it just made a humongous difference because he was getting in those better auctions. It's not that, and that's the hardest part to get people to understand. They like, your ads are bad. I'm like, no, if my ads ever worked at all, even a little, they're good. It's just a matter of we're not getting in front of enough right people. And the other part, the other way I explain it too is, you know, at any given moment, only 3% of the market knows they have the problem you solve. They know your type of business solves it. They just don't know who you are yet. They're open to it, you know. But then you have 15% of the market who need your service. They know they have the problem, but they have no clue how it gets fixed. So, you know, it just takes a little while for that retargeting to kick in. Maybe running, you know, like, again, I know a lot of industries don't, but I run ad funnels as well. So, you know, like a video ad that it's not salesy, but it's just about the problem. because it's a lot cheaper to put videos in front of people. I think it's like you can get a video in front of 6 people for a penny, whereas when you run a messenger ad, it's anywhere from average of 3 cents to get in front of somebody, and you can burn through a lot of money really fast. Where if you sort them out on the top level with the problem related videos, and then feed the direct offer only to the people who watch 50% of that video, it just works a lot better, and the ads last a lot longer.
So what I find interesting is right now with my clients, if they are uncomfortable spending, I have to like pull them to my price point, pull them to my service. It's like, yes, it's worth it. What you're doing is you're saying, how much do you got to spend? We'll create a program that matches that. So I guess that means there's a lot less friction on your sales calls. Is that right?
Well, there is. And like I said, with my starter program, I still found in the beginning, I was still talking to a lot of unqualified people. Okay. So what I did is I did one on my own, just like we're doing now. I did on Zoom and recorded it. And now if they want it, I send it to them. So it's like literally if they come through my prospecting system, they'll get access to the video. They can see it. I mean, it's nothing crazy. It's just me going through a slide deck, comparing the 2 plans with the price point. And if they like it, they click on the link, make the deposit. Like most of my starter plans, I don't even know who they are until they pay me. Like I have no idea who they are. And from that, what we also get is people who see the comparisons, say, hey, I've been in business at this X amount of time. I need something bigger. I want to talk about your core program instead of the starter. They don't feel like it's a good fit for them, which that's kind of, that's by design. I make sure they understand that in the starter program, it's limited to $10 a day. So people ask me, can we go to 20? I'm like, yes, but it's another $150 a month for us.
Right.
If you want the core program, it goes up to here. And then even above the core program, we have other options for, people who ask us to do stuff for them. But I just try to stay away from the custom if I can, because then, it takes the work away from my team and makes me have to do it, and then I can't.
So first things first is you literally looked around your house. You drove around town. You're like, which one of these services is still in business? I'm going to try that.
Yep. And that's what happened. Yeah.
Right. And then you started connecting, contacting, prospecting, whatever you want to call it, and got your first 5.
Yep.
Something along the lines of like, go on.
I started joining Facebook groups related to that niche, adding friends. And when someone would accept in the beginning, I was just sending a message, hey, I'm moving from the restaurant industry. And and I have tons of videos like testimonial. I said, you can check them out here. I'm looking to work for free. I'm going to do this for 5 people. I just need you to agree to spend between $250 and $500 in ads, and then service the leads and let me know how it worked out. And that was really it.
So very easy, yes, not a big sales pitch. You're not trying to like want to hop on a call. You're literally just saying, hey, are you in, type of thing.
Yep.
And then people say yes or no. One of those 5 worked. You turned it to an ad, and now you're using that to prospect and get clients. And then all of a sudden, stuff works, right?
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I mean, just going from restaurants. For me, again, I know some people kill at restaurants. COVID made it really hard, but those guys are hard to get on the phone. Yep. What I find with the home services industry is a lot of times the phone numbers they put out there, that's their cell phone. It's not hard to get them. And it's weird because they're either booked out or they're always looking for leads. So really fast, who wants to talk to you. And it just, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just a blue collar person at heart. I connect with the home services industry a lot more than any other one I worked in.
I think we talk about this a lot, like just be a normal human being, right?
Yep.
Don't try to be like overly salesy. Don't try to be super aggressive. Don't try to Grant Cardone nobody. Just be a normal human being, featured and flawed. Like, I'm just a guy that happens to do some online advertising. Do you want to see if I can help you? Right? Yep.
That's exactly how I put it, man. I tell them, like, listen, we're going to get to the end here. I'm going to make you an offer, but I'm not going to try and pull your credit card out of your pocket. But I'm going to ask you what you think of what you want to do it. And that's maybe one more key too. That helped my closing ratios. I never asked for half. I never asked for the full payment. What I asked for is a $150 deposit, no matter what the program is. With the starter program, it's a setup fee. With the rest of the programs, it's a deposit. And people almost never say no to $150 because it's just like, hey, listen, $150, we'll build your program. We'll get everything ready, show you the ads. have everything ready to go. The day the ads go live, we'll build a balance, and that's your anniversary date for the monthlies going forward. And
Gotcha.
That's it. That's my close.
And so all of a sudden, it's like, all right, just an easy yes, a little step in. You dip your toe in the water, you're going to like it, not to worry. And do you find some people are like, it's a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Like, how soon are they saying, all right, cool, we're live, let's go?
Well, with a starter plan, I don't always know because I don't know when they came in. You know, same thing with you, man. Like I talked to your guy, and then 9 months later, I said, hey, I got back with him and said, let's do it.
Yeah.
You know, there was no rhyme or reason. It was just, for me, it was purely timing. I was really trying to make the restaurants work, but I was intrigued by what you guys are doing. Honestly, most of the time it's right there on the phone. Or, you know, they'll say, hey, I'll do it tonight. Because a lot of times they're on a truck, they're out in the field. You know, we're doing Zoom calls. And, you know, I have a lot of automations that we've built. And again, every time we have a problem or something gets hung up, you know, we build an automation, usually in high level anymore. Yep. So what I do is I text them a link. And if they make the payment through that link, they instantly get our onboarding series. You know, here's 6 videos of here's how to give us Facebook access. Here's how to give us, you know, business manager access. Here's how to select your targeting. Here's how to, you know, select your offer. Like we have all this stuff. It takes them about an hour to go through. And then about an hour after they get that, they'll get a link from Brianna here in my office. It happens automatically where they can click and she'll do their onboarding and review it. And like I said, it's just been pretty cool. I mean, my team, they're awesome. Me personally, I have not built a program myself in about 45 days. Like I give advice when there's problems, but like things just evolved to like such a place that they've just never been for me.
So did you have this like hanging fear of I'm not good enough, I don't know if it's going to work, I'm not sure, like this non-confidence of like a devil on your shoulder kind of thing?
Yeah.
Like how did that handle for you?
Well, not so much the will it work or will I find a client. I was afraid I couldn't perform. Like,
gotcha.
You know, and I got hung up on the people that I couldn't make it work. I worked for free for some people for 2 months and tried everything I could think of, like everything. And sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't. But that also led me to the part of figuring out which clients I can't help. I mean, there's some I can talk to on the phone and I know almost instantly whether it's someone I can help or someone I can't. And, you know, and I'll tell them like, listen, this is marketing. This is not like, I don't have this magic script. I don't have this magic wording. You know, it's much more of a process than a destination, you know. And I said, you see these people promising X amount of leads for so much in ad spend, that stuff's out there. I mean, and, you know, and I'm not knocking anybody, but for me, that doesn't work. And let me tell you why. That's where I start the conversation about budgets. Like it's like me, I can't promise you X amount of leads for X amount of dollars. I just can't. But I can tell you we're going to spend somewhere between $25 and $50 a day. And it's just going to depend on your market, your offer, and just how you look online. Because a lot of times that has a lot to do with it too. If they go
we have a client. If you Google him, you see his bankruptcy information, like literally right there. And I'm like, I can run all the ads you want. People are Googling you. What do you want me to do? Right. So like, did you like actively calm your brain and be like, look, I can't help everybody? Or how did you handle that?
Well, we've had that conversation, you and I, but like that was the hard part. It's like, you can't help everybody. You can't. Yeah. You have to accept there's going to be churn. And that's what always held me up, because that would keep me from prospecting. I'd be afraid to take on more people because I'd be afraid I'm going to fail some of them. And I know I'm going to. I know we're going to fail some people, and it's not because anything we're doing wrong. It's because of their company. It's going to be because of the people around them, maybe their target area. I had to talk a guy the other day. I had to talk him out of doing a 3-mile radius, and like we put it in, it was like 42,000 people. Like, this is not enough. You know, it's just not going to work. I mean, we can run the ads, but I think we need to break it out to 10 at least, because like I said, Facebook has a really good knack of finding who's interested. You know, this is not like mass marketing where you put it in front of everybody and hope. You know, that's a little bit of it, but the thing is, Facebook just has that knack, and they're good at figuring out who's going to make the next move, depending on, you know, maybe they interacted with another person like you, and now basically, like, ooh, now we'll show them this one too. And you know, that's another conversation too. I said, have you ever had that happen? And they're like, yes. I'm like, that's why when your leads come in, you need to be fast, because you might be the second person and you might be the first person, and the responsive guy might get your prospect next. So when that stuff comes in, you need to be on it like instantly.
Yep. So does that mean that, like, looking back, starting over from scratch, would you have tried and said like, hey, I'm going to build out all my fulfillment, all my programs, all that stuff first? Would that have been better for you? Or is it better for somebody starting and saying like, just talk to people? Like, which one's a better kickstart?
No, minimum viable. Make it work. I mean, we still run our business literally. I didn't do anything crazy yet. We started with a Google sheet. Like, it's coded by who we have to build, who's next, and that's what we still build from. And as far as monitoring our prospects, like, we use Messenger for our main delivery system. I have somebody next door every day. They go through every one of our clients. They count the number of messages, and they count how many leads. Now, we don't classify everybody that comes in as a lead. When someone gets classified as a lead, that means they either gave a phone number or they engaged in a conversation where they didn't ghost them, And based on that, we have what's called a traffic light system. So clients are either a green, a yellow, or a red. If you're green, awesome. Things are going good. We know the quality is good, and we'll send them an update occasionally. If you're yellow, we made you yellow because we're seeing the stats in the green column drop. So that means we need to be proactive, either update the creative, do something. A yellow gets attention twice a week. So and what that does, that we send Loom videos to the clients like, hey, this is what we're seeing, this is the change we're making, and this is why we'll reconvene in 2 or 3 days. Yep. And if someone leaves yellow and goes red, that means we're seeing a problem, clearly, client complaint, quality problems, whatever. But when they're red, they get daily attention. Like, we look at them every day, and it's not that we can make changes every day, but it's looked at every day, for minute changes. Because if we let them stay in red too long, we're going to lose the client.
So does that mean that when somebody is red, you're looking at their inbounds and saying, are they responding with enough time? You've got a hot lead. Why aren't you messaging them back? Are you doing something like that?
We do look at that, but a lot of times it's stuff we can correct, on our end.
Gotcha.
It's not. I shouldn't say all the time. Some people say, "Hey, your leads suck." Then I look and they're not responding. But that's a conversation I handle during onboarding, or we handle during onboarding. They get video about it, everything, and we go through it. And there's some people who don't like Facebook leads, or let's say we get. Here's a better example. Let's say we get somebody in the home services that have gotten nothing but referrals for 5 years. That's how they built their business. Those referrals close almost all the time because there's somebody vouching for them. They're all, hey, the so-and-so did this. They're awesome. Whereas they start doing Facebook follow-up, and they're like, these suck. I'm like, no, these people don't know who you are. There's nobody vouching for you. So, this is just another avenue. It's another way. And, I guess you could scale word of mouth. You could scale referrals with certain tactics. But this is just how the online ads game is played. They're going to come in cold. They're going to have to get warmed up. Some are going to come in hot, but a lot of them, they're going to need your attention. You're going to need to go see them. It's going to be more work, but it's something to build into your mix.
So does that mean that you're doing like KLT videos? You're giving clients a script to like, hey, shoot this video, be friendly, or anything like that to like deal with that problem, or you're just not there yet?
Actually, what is today? Sometime in June. I was hoping to have it done by June 1st, but we've been building too many programs. I know we're going to do it. We're actually going to start providing our clients with a monthly content calendar. So what we're going to do is anybody that works with us is going to get a calendar like, okay, today you're going to talk about a job that you did last week, how it went, why you did what you did. You're going to get in front of the camera. Today on your job, you're going to post it before and after, and you're going to do the walk around that you do with the client, and you're going to post it on your Facebook page. Wednesday, you're going to talk about something technical. It could be maybe because why someone's driveway is slippy because of the algae and mildew on it. They don't know why. They just know it's slippy. But explain why, and what you do to kill the organics, and what kind of chemicals you use. And you see, all the stuff I'm saying now. I mean, I'm totally speaking the industry's language, but it's something that I've learned from talking to them. But in doing that, we're going to give them 20 topics for 20 days every month. We're going to move them around. We're even going to put in, hey, run, you know, a Memorial Day special, you know, talk about 4th of July, whatever it is. But, you know, what I find is our clients that are more active on social media, man, their ads just work better. Like I have this one guy, he's in Orlando. I have people in Tampa to the west. I have people like to the beach, the Cocoa Beach, I believe it is, over towards Daytona, over on that side. You know, they're all, say Orlando in the middle is 2 hours east, 2 hours west. The guy in Orlando, he will post on his Facebook page 5 times a week, video, walking around, talking, and he is my killer program. Like I cannot get anybody to match his results. And it's not because of our program. It's because of how active he is on social media and Facebook when people check him out. It makes such a difference in the results. You know, it's not the program. It really is his way, how active he is.
So if I understand correctly, you started off literally almost bare minimum viable, least amount of stuff, which is like a Facebook ad to a Google Sheet. And then you built out messenger bots. Then you built out Go High Level, and you just kind of used the success and the learnings to build more stuff. You didn't start here like everyone thinks you have to. You started down here.
We're talking like every day we'd be looking at ads, stressing them like what, are these working or not? Are they working? I'm like, all right, we need systems, you know. And then so we started putting in checkpoints. We started putting in, okay, check these 2 things every day, and then, you know, now we have a monster of a system. But the thing is, it's so complete now because we don't have to spend our time now working on people who are green. We don't have to look at them. We don't have to spend our time on it. We know how much attention to give yellow people and what makes them yellow. Sometimes, you know, my staff will classify a green into a yellow, and I'll be like, because they're like, the cost per lead's going too high, you know, and we'll look at it, but then we'll call the client just to kind of feel them out, see how things are going. They're like, no, man, this is great, man. And I'm like, all right, he's back to green. He says it's good. So, you know, but then we make a note that this cost per lead range and probably another $10 per lead is good. So once they fall out of that range, they can stay green. And clearly red means they're, you know, it's like danger, Will Robinson. They're leaving soon. You got to fix it.
So that means you can operate, let's just say 70 clients. Half of them will be green. And now effectively you only have like 35 clients. Like you ignore the top 35. The bottom 35 is what your staff focuses on. So you effectively cut your management costs, or I should say your throughput has doubled. You don't have to worry about half. You only have to worry about the bottom half.
Yeah, right now, last I looked, now we're in season, so a lot of stuff sticks against the wall today. So I think it was like 63% are green. We have like 16% were yellow, and the rest, you know, we're actively working with. And those ones we're actively working with every day, trying to make them better, turn them into yellow, turn them into green, or at least come up with a diagnosis to fix it. I mean, sometimes I even throw some of my own money at it to see if I throw $50 at this over 2 days, do the results get better? And sometimes they do. Then I can say to the client, hey, your budget's a problem. Either if you can't spend more, I can't fix it. This is it. You know, but it's just again a process that we didn't have in the beginning, like you were saying, man. It's you start with the bare bones, nice and easy, and you know, as things happen and as you get more clients, I don't know, man. Just as you learn, you add stuff.
I find that most interesting and part of like a lack in, say, like a business space and like what to do and how to do it. Because if I came to you and was like, hey, you're going to do a traffic light system, back on day one, you would have frozen and never talked to a client. You said, oh my God, I have to do my traffic system, right? Yeah. If we had a conversation about, hey, you need to have like your way of working mapped out, you would have spent all this time on this instead of talking to a client. The kickstart is the client conversations. Fine, build it out, get a bridge going, no big deal. But if you're not talking to clients, none of this is going to work. Is that right?
That's it. That's it, man. I mean, and you're just not going to learn what their hot buttons are, because, you know, there's certain things as you're talking to them, you're going to hear their ears perk up, or you're going to hear all these people are going to tell you about all the bad things that's happened to them with other marketers. And I don't know, just I'm going to say probably somewhere between 300 and 400 pitches I've done since October. You know, I've just learned and talked to countless more. I know when I looked at my bot the other day, you know, I think there was like 1,600 people that came in through our ads, you know, since October. but I've had conversations with a lot of them, and you know what, even on that too, making video content once or twice a month, man. I mean, I used to make it constantly for restaurants, and I just felt like I spent a lot of time making content and not a lot of work for restaurants, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
I find this like really interesting because you are the exact opposite of the hard sales, Grant Cardone, overpromise, underdeliver.
I can't do it.
You can't do it, right? It's just not in your nature, right?
It gives me anxiety thinking about doing it.
Really?
Yep.
So you said, I'm going to come in at the bottom. I'm going to be like, it sounds like you're the local business owner that just happens to do Facebook ads. Like if you were like walking down the street, people could approach you and you'd be like a normal human being, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And that makes it very, very easy for people to refer business to you. You get happier clients. You've got a traffic light system. You've got a low price point. It's like, it feels like you found your market and then built your whole business around that. Is that correct?
It is. Like I said, we started out with the core program, modeled very much modeled after your program. The only thing we did different was I didn't use lead ads because we understood bots really well. We've done a lot of them. So we built with bots rather than lead ads. Now, I will say, though, we do move to lead ads if we can't get Messenger to work, or once in a while we'll get the client that they lose their mind when people come into Messenger and they ghost them. Like people quitting, coming through, and it's just not a good situation. So we move them to lead ads. And then even if we can't get lead ads at work, we'll move to a landing page and use traffic or conversion. Because another thing we found too, and I know you know this, but a lot of people probably don't. There are separate pools of people out there. Facebook knows who will engage with Messenger. They know who will engage with lead ads, and they know who will engage and click on a landing page. And some of those will do all of them, but a lot of them will only do one or the other. And if you're only doing one objective, you're missing pockets of people in your market. If that makes sense,
Yep. So like the conversion device or something like that.
Yep.
And give fair. I'm going to give fair credit. I'm not going to say his name, but we'll call it the JW Messenger bot sequence, right? Like he knows. I'm not dropping his name. I don't think he wants the attention, but things along those lines. So mad congrats. But you've got a low price point, easy. Yes, you've got staff. Now, before we go into like the end of this, and if there's any questions, by the way, for anybody watching, now is the time if you're watching it live. My question for you, David, is like, were there certain inflection points in your agency journey where like, oh my God, I'm stressing out. Oh my God, this is amazing. Like agency is never like this, right? It's always like,
Nope.
You know what I mean? So like, what were some of those like huge ups and downs, a huge swing? Because at one point you were like at 5 clients, and then next time we talk, you're at 40, right? So like, what were those like big ups and downs?
Just figuring out what works, man, and honestly, investing back in myself, not drawing. I mean, love your course in it, but God, man, I pay so much money to coaches. It's ridiculous when I look at the course over the years. And, I don't know, man, yours just resonated with me more than anything as far as the client getting client satisfaction. Now, there's some other ones that I lean on for, internal operations, Again, not a knock on yours, man, but like I said, to get started and have someone that you have access to, that was the coolest thing. He's like, I'm in the group, and I've been watching Jeff for a long time, and I need him. Or the one day I messaged you a question, and he called me. I was like, holy shit, he called me.
I know. I was walking in Publix, and we were talking about like AdWords or something like that.
Yes, and I was just like, that direct access to somebody that is where you want to be, or at least as close to it as you can get, is what really made the difference, and sticking to the minimum viable.
Yep.
Until you get there. Like, don't make it complicated until you have to. I mean, there's some things I need to make complicated that I still don't want to, just because I don't.
Yep. I found that simple is probably the easiest thing to understand. It breaks the least and will get you 0 to 80%. And I'm trying to like do everything I can to keep things in the middle 80% and avoid the missing 20%. Like it's easier and better most times to say, you know what, we're just let those like 10% of those clients go to 20%. It's a bad fit. Because if it's simple, it's going to work forever, right? Like, have you ever tried opening up your GHL triggers? Like, good luck, right? You know what I'm talking about? It's too complicated, too fast.
We use them now. I mean, my problem is I don't organize them in the folders, and when I need to find one, there's like 3 million of them in there, and then we can't find the one we want. but
it's not going to work, right?
Yeah.
I think it's pretty darn cool that you're coming back and sharing your journey, sharing your story. Again, for anybody who has any questions, now is the time. David's pulling time out of his schedule and going from 0 to 60, 67, 80 clients, things like that, charging a fair rate. Everybody's happy most of the time. And just kind of a quick summary, David, it sounds like the way you found your niche was just like looking around. Are you somebody doing work? Great, let's talk. You got involved and had like a normal human conversation. Would you be interested? They said yes. You had conversations with them and did your own version of client research to figure out price points, starter package, low tier, mid tier, all that fun stuff. And you had this like automatic demo process that gets people qualified. And then it's like, great, pay the 150 and we'll build your stuff out. And you don't even have to talk to them most times. You're not like back and forth on a time, doing a demo live, having to pay a salesperson. Here's the recording. Good luck, right?
Yeah, and that's for the starter. And now when they go through my qualification process, we ask them questions like how long you've been in business, how many clients do you serve in a week, do you have any employees, and there's a couple other questions. And depending on how they answer those questions, they're going to get one of two paths. Either they're going to get a link to do a Zoom with me, or they're going to get a link to the starter program. And, there was no other way, because the part is with that industry, the barrier to entry is really low. I can go to Home Depot tonight, get a commercial pressure washer, a decent one, for $600 to $1,000 and go out tomorrow and call myself a pressure washer.
It's the same way with any consumable home industry, whether it's like carpet cleaning, some plumbing work, tile grout, construction, like it doesn't matter. Like any consumable home service, you can just start tomorrow, right? And that's the exact opposite with like high education barrier industries, where like you have to do it like for 10 years and then that type of, which is what I'm in now. And so you've matched a price point to that, and it seems to go pretty darn well. For somebody who's starting out, David, like imagine you were like 6 months ago, maybe even 9 months ago. What would you do, and what would you tell them to like get this kickstart, move forward fast, and ultimately get to a point where they're starting a journey not too dissimilar than what you're on?
Yeah, even if you don't like the niche you're in, I thought about this, just do it, get it done the first time, because we've even been talking about this internally. We are going to do this again. I don't feel like we've capped the potential out, but it just seems like once you get on that first curve, you've seen it's like from 10 to 60 quick. So I was like, how many more industries can we do this in, where we can just get there quick? And, we've a couple here that we've nailed down, that we feel like our processes will work to. But the thing is, even if you don't like the niche that you're in, the next time you go to do it, it's going to be easy. It's just get in, do it, sign up for Jeff's program.
I appreciate it.
No, seriously, it was a difference maker, man. I was through quite a few coaches before I ran into you, by Tom.
Yep.
Oddly, now he's here, but it's just you just got to get in and do it, man, and stop second guessing and make the mistakes rather than beating yourself up. Well, just don't come up with the reasons why it will and won't work. Just if it makes sense and you think of why it will, you'll find out why it won't. If it doesn't, just you got to do it, and you'll learn from it every time.
I found that's a mistake or a challenge or a symptom of our industry. We're like, hey, I'm trying to make this work, and very, very quickly look at everything else that's working except for ours.
Yep.
Right? And we'll do it for like 4 or 6 weeks, and we'll get to this wall that we can't get through. And we say, screw it, I can't figure it out, I'll do something else. And then hit the same wall 4 to 6 weeks later, same wall 4 to 6 weeks later, and you just kind of circle around. It's like you're changing your major.
Yep.
What I've discovered is the people that make it say, okay, I hit this wall, what do I have to build to break through it? And then magically, like science, straight through the roof. Like they go from nowhere to somewhere really, really fast. It's because they broke through that wall. And for you, it feels like it was like your price point and your deliverability, like normal stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I've seen that pattern a million times.
No, it is. Customer testimonials were a big thing. Even with, like I said, we have had some churn, and, I'm going to say a handful of people are like, hey, this just isn't working. Can we get out early? I said, my answer usually is like, yes, you can get out early. My only stipulation is if you went out early, you got to leave me a good review on my Facebook page. That's how I let them.
Interesting.
So
interesting.
you went out, that's how you do it. And
love it. I think there was something that you wanted to bring up or like talk about before we bring this to an end, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, yeah, what I want to cover for people is really just the quality of service. Now you talk to, obviously dentists or oral surgeons, dentists, oral surgeons.
It's dentists, yeah. Turns out, no, if you say they're the same, you freak out. So they're different, yeah.
But when I was coming through your program, a lot of people are charging $1,500, $1,000, $2,000, and I just knew the market I was in would not accept that. But I did want to charge more, so I did start out low. Like my first paying client, and I still have a couple of them. They're still paying this. They're paying $500 a month, and they're getting the service for our top tier program now because they just kind of evolve into it, which I'm 100% fine with because they gave me the shot to learn and evolve. And now they're kind of like a stock investment, we'll say. Now they're getting, everything else involved with it. But what I had to find and, why our clients stay is all the things we've added in, like the quality checks, the onboarding. We do what another thing I didn't mention, we do what's called a 30-day experience. So we have steps mapped out in the first month. And we make sure that all new clients, even starter clients, they get exposure to all of us. So there's 4 of us here. So they're going to get to talk to everybody, or they're going to get feedback or Loom videos or something. They're going to see this is not a corporation, but it's also, not just me in my mom's basement. There's a pile of us that, our living depends on providing results. And that is what we strive for, is getting those results, connecting with our clients, just making sure that everything from a satisfactory level is in line. And like I said, sometimes they don't, but I also set the expectation. I'm like, do we knock it out of the park every day from ground zero? No. Mm-hmm. Do some of them? Yeah. I mean, yeah, I do show you the best case scenarios, but that's not what happens every time. It's, it's a process.
Absolutely love it. Very well done. Cool. Everybody, David Kunstek going from 0 to 67 active clients in 6 months or less, including some months where you brought on 20 clients and was sad and disappointed that it was only 20 clients. Well done. Don't hang up, but we'll click end broadcast unless there's anything else you want to go over.
No, man, I'm good, man. Thanks, Jeff.
Very cool. Everyone, see you later.